Howdy gamers, and welcome to another edition of Flashback Friday. This is Patrick Hickey Jr., Editor-in-Chief of ReviewFix.com, and this week out we will be bringing you Wonderboy in Monster World on the Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo Sega Genesis. So the reason why we picked this game is because it's just awesome. Alright, end of video, we're done. No, Wonderboy in Monster World was one of those games that kind of slipped under the radar. Not many people even know that it exists, and it's just this really cool side-scrolling action RPG. It holds a bit of a personal place in my heart because when this game came out, I believe in like 1991, I was a much different type of gamer. I didn't play RPGs. I was mainly into like sports games and beat 'em ups, Double Dragon, Ninja Turtles, and this game kind of opened up the floodgates for me because when I was a kid, even younger than 8, 5, 6 or whatever, my father used to play Legend of Zelda all the time, and I used to watch him play it for hours, and I would remember where stuff was, and we would just talk about it, and I had a lot of fun just watching him play Legend of Zelda. The thing that sucked, though, of course, with the Nintendo Entertainment System, was if you had a crappy system. Damn, the snake's kicking my ass. If you had a crappy system and your games froze or you had to blow in them, you'd often lose the save. So I can't tell you how many times my father had lost his save in The Legend of Zelda, to the point where I'm probably sure that we went through a couple of different versions of Zelda because they either got thrown or stepped on or something. The cool part about Wonderboy and Monster World, and the cool part about the Genesis in general, you didn't have to blow on games nearly as much. And even if you did, the batteries were made differently. I think the batteries were made better on the Sega Genesis. And you could have those saves on there. I mean, I'm sure that if I boot up my copy of Zelda right now on the NES, that my save's probably not going to be there. And with Wonderboy, it was a little bit different. So you were able to kind of like continue, and it wasn't annoying in the fact that like another great RPG or strategy RPG on the Sega Genesis, King's Bounty, used this really lengthy password save system, and it used to annoy the crap out of me because you'd have to write it down, and if you didn't do it properly, then you lost it. So it was like, this is before like iPhones or whatever. You could just take a picture of the screen and you'll always remember it. I mean, I would have like a pen and a pad, and I would write down my passwords and stuff. And I remember my father used to work in like a printing company, and he'd make like little strategy guides and stuff like that for the games. And it was so different than it is now. So for a game to be as deep as this one was pretty cool. And I remember reading online that a bunch of places gave this game like a 7 or whatever, but like they weren't that impressed with it. But as far as visuals go, I thought it looked pretty good for an early Genesis game. And also the sound is pretty good too. It gets annoying after a while, yes, especially when you're getting hit. But there weren't a lot of Genesis games where you could like walk through the water and things like that. This game did a lot of things right. And the sad part was this. I'm pretty sure this was the last Wonderboy for Genesis. I know they had Wonderboy and Monster Land on the Master System. Oh, this used to annoy the crap out of me. So now I have to jump on the pig. Come up, pig. So now I have to go all the way back and then jump from one all the way to the other. This is going to take me like 4 or 5 times to do. I apologize. And I used to hate that the water would like kind of move you. Alright, let's see. Let's try and do this. This is going to be embarrassing. Oh my god. So, looking back, the control, did I do it? No! Rawr. The control in this game sucks. As far as like when I was a kid, what I thought of the control, it probably didn't bother me as much, but I'm gonna tell you guys this right now. Like, yeah, if you're looking for like a timeless RPG, this probably isn't it. But at the same time, too, it's a lot of fun. It's something that you can kind of just jump right into. The story is an easy one, where you're just trying to like save Monsterland from the monsters. Pretty crappy story. But it's based essentially on combat and finding items. So it's like you're traveling from place to place. They're all like interconnected in one way or another. And you're just traveling from place to place to get better items and beat the final boss. So there's a lot of bosses in this game. There's a lot of like stepping stones to get to where you need to be. But and there's a lot of inns along the way where you will be sleeping. So this game will actually take you probably about a dozen hours to finish. Like, you're gonna die a lot, especially like in the beginning. You could probably get this game pretty cheap too on Amazon. So in terms of like a rather like simplistic action RPG that you could just jump into, that's gonna treat you fairly, this is like a good way to go. And this is the thing too, and I hate when people have this conversation about RPGs on the Sega Genesis, and they're like, oh well, the Sega Genesis had like Phantasy Star and Shining in the Darkness and this one and that one, and it's like those are really old like first person RPGs. Like, oh my god, I can't play those games. It's like they're like really crappy first person shooters with no shooting. It's like they didn't work. Some of them had great stories, but the way I roll is I liked Dragon Warrior. I like Zelda. You know, I even liked Ultima back in the day. Those were the games that I grew up on, the RPGs that I grew up on, like when I was older, when I was 9, 10, and stuff like that. I couldn't get into Shining in the Darkness, and the thing that sucks is, and Phantasy Star, those games had awesome covers. I knew that they were good, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. So again, the thing that's cool about this game is it kind of tries to be a platformer, and you might even be able to say that it is kind of a platformer, but at the end of the day, it's an RPG. Just because of like the health bar expanding as the game goes on, the magic element, all those things. Now we got a little buddy that's going to help us out. They don't really do that much, but they're kind of cool to have. I feel like I remembered something being there, but whatever. I really don't remember a lot of this game. I just remember that I loved it when I was a kid. So now we got some help. So now we're going to go, and I know that there's a castle going on here, but I don't remember what I have to do. Oh yeah, you get the ocarina, and it opens up doors. I don't remember the code though. So, but at any rate, Wonderboy and Monsterland, definitely a fun time. Definitely something worth checking out. Peace!